Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today is Monday, February 9th, 2026. And look, if you're anything like me, you are currently nursing a hangover. And I don't necessarily mean the tequila kind, although, hey, no judgment if that's, part of the equation. I'm talking about a cognitive hangover.
It's that too much signal, not enough noise hangover.
Exactly. We are sitting here the morning after the big game, and, usually the day after the Super Bowl would be dissecting the halftime show or arguing about that one controversial pass interference call in the fourth quarter.
Right, the usual stuff.
But we aren't doing that today. We're ignoring the score entirely. Because according to the stack of research we have on the desk, specifically the latest innermost loop analysis from Dr. Alex Wisner-Gross, something happened between the plays that matters infinitely more than who took home the trophy.
It really did feel different this year, didn't it?
Yeah.
Usually the Super Bowl is a mirror. It just reflects who we are right now.
Beer, trucks, Americana.
Exactly. But this year, it felt like a window into a very weird and very, very fast approaching future.
Yeah, Dr. Wisner-Gross had a line in the research that actually made me, I had to stop and just stare at the wall for a minute. He said, "The Singularity just bought a 30-second spot."
It's a chilling way to put it, but it's so accurate. The concept of the singularity, that whole theoretical moment when technological growth becomes, uncontrollable and irreversible.
A point of no return.
Right.
Right.
That's not just a chapter in a Ray Kurzweil book anymore. It's got a marketing budget. It's competing with Doritos and Bud Light for your attention.
That's the shift. That is the shift we need to talk about. We've moved from the early adopter phase where you have one or two weird tech companies showing off a robot dog to a niche audience.
To the cultural omnipresence phase.
And you have grandmothers and teenagers watching the same screen. And the companies are no longer explaining what AI is, but they're assuming you know and are trying to sell you a specific flavor of it.
That's the tipping point.
It has to be.
The singularity isn't a sci-fi concept anymore. It's a consumer packaged good. And that is exactly what we are going to unpack today. We're going to dive deep into those commercials, not to critique the cinematography,
right,
but to decode what they're telling us about our jobs, our safety, and really the architecture of our future.
But we can't stop at the ads. The ads are just the surface level. They're the shiny wrapper. While everyone was watching the commercials, the real heavy lifting was happening in press releases that got buried under all the confetti. We're talking about a new plan for a self-growing city on the moon and why that is actually bad news for anyone hoping to visit Mars in the next decade.
We also need to talk about the grad student with a pipette, or rather, the impending extinction of that grad student.
Right. And we're going to cover why romance novels are being written by the hundreds per week, why snow shoveling in Lithuania is a sign of the apocalypse, in a good way, apparently. And we'll wrap up with a detective story.
Oh, a tea glass story.
A microscopic Japanese fiber called tea glass that is currently holding the entire global economy hostage.
That story is wild. It is the ultimate bottleneck in what has to be the most sophisticated supply chain in human history.
It really is. So grab some coffee, maybe some aspirin. We're going to figure out if we're heading for a utopia or a dystopia or just a really weird reality where robots do the chores and we all worry about the glass fiber supply chain.
Let's do it.
Let's dive into segment 1, the Super Bowl of the Singularity.
Okay, let's start with the flex.
The big one. OpenAI. They didn't hire a celebrity. There was no Ben Affleck, no Beyonce, no pop culture nostalgia. What did we actually see?
We saw confidence. That's the only word for it.
Yeah.
OpenAI's spot was just stark. It was essentially a blank screen, white text, black background.
Super simple.
And it flashed references to Ray Kurzweil's book, The Singularity is Near. Now, that alone is a signal. They are acknowledging the prophecy, basically.
They're claiming it.
They're claiming it. But then the tagline was incredibly simple. It just said, just build things. And it showed Codex, their coding engine, just running in the background.
Just build things. It felt, I don't know, almost arrogant. Or maybe just brutally utilitarian. It reminded me of Nike's Just Do It, but stripped of all the sweat.
That's a great parallel, but think about the difference in the underlying message there. Just do it.
Yeah.
Was about the body. It was about overcoming physical laziness.
Yeah.
About pushing the human animal to its absolute limit.
Right.
Just build things. It's about overcoming cognitive barriers. OpenAI is telling you the barrier to entry is 0 now. You don't need to know Python. You don't need to understand syntax or memory allocation.
We handled that.
We handled that. Your only job now is volition. Do you want to make something? Then make it.
It's the commoditization of the how.
Precisely. The how used to be the hard part. The how was why you went to college for 4 years. Now the how is cheap. It's virtually free. The what and the why are the only things left that have any value.
But doesn't that feel a bit, I don't know, like a utility company ad? Like, we're the electricity. There's no emotion there.
I think that's exactly the brand positioning they want. They don't want to be the shiny app you play with for 5 minutes.
They want to be the infrastructure.
They want to be the infrastructure of your life. You don't get excited about the power grid, you just expect it to work.
Yep.
OpenAI is saying, we are the grid for intelligence. We are the water pressure in the pipes of the internet.
Okay, now, contrast
Yeah.
that serious business vibe with Amazon, because the Alexa Plus ad, honestly, I laughed out loud, but then I felt kind of bad about laughing.
The Chris Hemsworth ad.
Yes. The premise is essentially that Alexa Plus is so smart, so proactive, that it decides to eliminate Chris Hemsworth because, well, the reasons were kind of vague, but is actively trying to kill him.
It was a masterpiece of dark humor. But just think about the psychology required to greenlight that ad. Amazon is a trillion-dollar company. They know the #1 fear people have about AGI is it will go rogue and kill us.
The Terminator scenario.
The Terminator scenario. And they just made a joke out of it.
So they make a Super Bowl ad about it. Why?
It's that strategy called defanging. If you can make a joke about the monster becomes less scary. They are taking the existential risk scenario and they're turning it into a slapstick comedy. They're saying, look, we know you're paranoid.
We get it.
We're so confident it's safe that we can joke about it being dangerous.
That is a high-stakes poker game to play with your brand image. Ha-ha! Look at the murder bot.
It is. But it suggests that the fear of rogue AI has become so mainstream, so culturally metabolized, that Amazon feels comfortable mocking it just to sell a product. It's a way of saying, we're all in on the joke.
It contrasts so sharply with the Ring ad, though, which was from Amazon, too. That was the other side of the coin, the search party feature.
That one hit differently.
It really did. I'm a dog owner. The idea that if your dog gets out, all the Ring cameras in the neighborhood just network together instantly to track it.
Right. It's the panopticon Asgardian. We talk about the surveillance state as this negative thing, loss of privacy, Big Brother watching, the erosion of civil liberties.
Always.
But this ad sells the benefit. If Big Brother is watching, he can find your lost puppy.
It's the trade-off. We surrender privacy for security, or in this case, for the safety of Buster.
And look at the speed of it. It's not a human looking at footage. It's AI agents talking to other AI agents across a whole neighborhood grid.
Wow.
It's the Singularity acting as a neighborhood watch. It's benevolent, sure, but it's total surveillance.
Now, we have to talk about the visuals, because there was a lot of weirdness. The uncanny valley wasn't avoided. It felt like it was monetized.
You think you have the Svidka ad.
The party robots. It was like, Robot meets Project X.
It's a very specific aesthetic, glossy, slightly creepy, humanoid robots drinking vodka.
Why?
But again, look at what it signals. It's associating the robot future with excess, with nightlife, with fun. It's trying to make the robot cool rather than just efficient. It's saying the Singularity likes to party.
And then Ramp, the Kevin ad. This was my nightmare fuel. Brian Baumgartner from The Office, but multiplied.
An army of Kevins.
Just thousands of him, doing expense reports, filing taxes, moving boxes, all the grunt work.
This is a visual metaphor for agentic workflows. We talk about AI agents all the time on this deep dive, but what does that actually look like? Ramp showed us. It looks like cloning your best employee, or, well, Kevin, 1,000 times to do the grunt work simultaneously.
But why Kevin? Why not a super competent person? That would be more impressive, right?
Because if you showed 1,000 stern-faced accountants marching in lockstep, it looks like a fascist dystopia. It looks like the Borg.
Okay, fair point.
But if you show 1,000 Kevins spilling chili, it's a sitcom. It makes the concept of labor replication palatable. It disarms the fear that they are coming for your job by making the they look like a lovable goofball.
It's all about softening the blow, isn't it? Don't worry that we're replacing humans. Look, it's funny.
Correct. Which brings us to what the report calls the normalizers. The companies that didn't go for the joke or the scare, but just tried to make it all look mundane. And Meta. Meta shocked me.
Meta, Facebook, the company that spent billions trying to get us to live in a cartoon VR world with no legs.
And failed, largely. But this ad, this was blue collar. This was build Ford tough, but for data centers.
It was weirdly patriotic. They were showing construction sites in New Mexico and Iowa, guys in hard hats pouring concrete for server farms. And then they're selling smart glasses alongside it.
This is a crucial pivot for Zuckerberg. He's realizing that the AI revolution isn't just code floating in the ether, it's heavy industry. It's steel, it's copper, It's massive cooling systems.
It's physical.
It's physical. And by showcasing the jobs in the heartland, he's trying to politically insulate Meta. He's saying, we aren't just coastal elites. We are building the factories of the 21st century in your backyard.
It grounds the AI. It makes it real. It connects the high-tech wearable on someone's face with the guy pouring the cement.
Exactly. And then you had Google with a family designing their home with Nano Banana Pro or whatever, and Wix pushing its Harmony AI website builder, just making it all feel like another app on your phone.
And then there was Anthropic.
The counterculture play.
I did. It felt like a PSA from the Library of Congress. So quiet.
That's the counterculture play, right? In a sea of loud, flashy, look at our magic tricks ads, Anthropic played the role of the adult in the room. They poked fun at the ad-driven models.
The ones just trying to sell you stuff.
Exactly. They positioned themselves as the organic, non-GMO option for AI. We care about safety. We care about accuracy.
It's the we're not like the other girls strategy for artificial intelligence.
100%. They are betting that there is a segment of the market, and it's probably the enterprise market, that doesn't want a partying robot or a murderous assistant. They want a tool that works, and more importantly, won't get them sued.
So if the Super Bowl was the debutante ball for the Singularity, the message was really mixed. It was, we can kill you, we can clone you, but hey, we can also find your dog and create construction jobs.
Welcome to the future. It's messy, it's loud, and it's sponsored by vodka.
Okay, so while we were all distracted by the army of Kevins, Elon Musk decided to drop a press release that, frankly, makes the Super Bowl look like small potatoes.
This is the news that arguably matters more than anything else that happened yesterday.
This brings us to segment 2, the industrialization of the moon. We've spent the last, 10 years hearing Mars, 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 occupy Mars, make humanity multiplanetary.
It's been the singular mantra of SpaceX.
Yeah.
The entire company was built on that red planet dream.
And then yesterday happened. What changed?
The timeline changed.
Yeah.
And the strategy pivoted from colonization to industrialization. Musk announced that the Mars mission is effectively being delayed, the new priority, a self-growing city on the moon within 10 years.
Self-growing. Let's pause on that. That sounds biological. Buildings don't grow.
In this context, they do. He's talking about exponential manufacturing. Think of it like a von Neumann probe concept. You send one machine to the moon.
Okay.
That machine's job isn't just to build a habitat. Its job is to build another machine. And then those two machines build two more, and then four build four more.
So it's a virus. A mechanical virus.
A constructive virus, yes. The idea is to bootstrap an industrial base using local materials, lunar regolith, the moon dust, so you don't have to ship everything from Earth. Because shipping from Earth is expensive. Gravity is the tax you pay to leave the planet, and it is a very, very steep tax.
But why the pivot? Why ditch the Mars dream now? It was the whole brand.
Dr. Wisner-Gross suggests it's about securing civilization. Mars is a backup drive, sure, but it's a backup drive that's 6 months away on a good day. It's logistically fragile.
Right.
The moon is 3 days away. If you want to create a robust off switch for Earth or a backup economy, you do it on the doorstep first. It's a strategic stronghold.
It's a hedge. It's saying we need to secure the perimeter before we go on the big expedition.
Exactly. But here's the part that sounded straight out of a sci-fi horror movie to me.
Oh.
The disassembly endgame.
Yeah, this is where I got uncomfortable. The report mentions using mass drivers to shoot lunar material into space.
Yes.
And Musk called the visual of a slowly disintegrating moon incredible. Are we talking about blowing up the moon? Because I feel like I use the moon. Tides, werewolves, romance. I'm fond of it.
We aren't blowing it up Death Star style.
Yeah.
But we are talking about strip mining it on a planetary scale.
Mm-hmm.
A mass driver is essentially a giant electromagnetic railgun.
A railgun on the moon.
Right. Because the moon has low gravity and no atmosphere, you can just load a rock onto a sled, accelerate it with magnets, and shoot it directly into orbit without a rocket.
So the moon just becomes a quarry, a giant floating rock quarry.
It becomes the raw material for the rest of the solar system. The plan is to shoot this material into orbit to build massive solar arrays and compute clusters, giant data centers in space.
Why do we need data centers in space? We have trouble building them in Iowa.
Because of heat and energy. If you run a superintelligence on Earth, you generate massive amounts of heat. You need cooling. It's a huge problem.
Right.
In space, you can radiate heat effectively into the void, and you have access to unfiltered solar power 2047. The moon is just the battery pack we're cracking open to run the machine.
And the market. The market loves this idea, taking apart the moon.
Of course they do. Prediction markets are now giving SpaceX a greater than 40% chance of a valuation exceeding $2 trillion at IPO.
2 trillion with a T.
It makes sense from their perspective. If you control the logistics of the solar system and you control the energy production via these solar satellites, you aren't just a company anymore.
You're an economy.
You are an economy. You become the toll booth and the gas station for the entire solar system.
It's just the hubris of it. We're going to disassemble a celestial body to build better Wi-Fi.
To build the singularity, you can't separate the two. To get the intelligence, you need the compute. To get the compute, you need the energy and the materials. The moon just happens to be the most convenient pile of materials we have.
Well, while the moon is getting turned into server racks back here on Earth, the way we actually do work is changing just as fast. And this brings us to segment 3, the automation of science and labor.
Oh. This is where the rubber meets the road for the listener. Because while the moon stuff is abstract, this is happening in labs and offices right now.
Let's start with science. There was a quote from OpenAI's Kevin Weil that stuck out to me. He said there's no reason to have grad students pipetting anymore.
Ouch. Someone who spent a lot of time in labs, that hits home.
Right. For our listeners who haven't spent time in a wet lab, pipetting is like 90% of your life as a junior scientist, isn't it? Just moving clear liquid from one tube to another.
It is the hazing ritual of science.
Yeah.
It's tedious, it's carpal tunnel inducing, and it's so prone to human error. If you sneeze, you can ruin a week's work.
So Weil is saying, the robots take the hands.
He's saying we are decoupling thinking from doing. For centuries, the scientist had to be both the architect and the builder.
Right.
You had the hypothesis, and then you had to stand at the bench and do the tedious work.
Right.
Weil is saying that second part is now a waste of human cognitive potential. The AI does the reasoning, the planning. The robot does the execution.
The human is just the prompt engineer, the person who asks the first question.
The conductor. You aren't playing the violin. You're telling the orchestra what to play.
Does that actually work, though? Or is it just tech hype? Is it something that's coming in 5 years?
No, it works. Look at Argonne National Laboratory. The source material highlights this specifically. They used AI to run 6,000 battery experiments in just 5 months.
6,000? How long would that take a human team?
A normal PhD student might run, I don't know, a few hundred experiments in their entire thesis, if they're really productive. We are talking about compressing decades of trial and error into a single semester.
That's incredible for batteries. We need better batteries. But what happens to the PhD student? What is their job now?
That is the question of the decade. And the report calls it labor bifurcation.
The split.
The split between the super users and the redundant. The argument is that the middle ground is just vanishing. You are either the person designing and controlling the AI fleet, the super user, or you are the person the fleet replaced.
And we're seeing this panic in the education sector, the uncollege trend. Students are skipping traditional degrees.
Kids are smart. They look at the syllabus for a standard business admin degree or even some computer science degrees, and they ask themselves, will this job exist in 4 years?
A very valid question.
And if the answer is maybe not, why spend $200,000 learning entry-level skills when all the entry-level jobs are vanishing?
An OpenAI lead actually warned that this is the last opportunity to secure employment before a fast takeoff disrupts the market completely. That sounds like a panic button. That sounds like get to the chopper.
It's a musical chairs warning. The music is about to stop. Make sure you have a seat, and that seat needs to be controlling the AI, not doing the thing the AI can do.
And it's hitting the creative fields, too. Romance novels, the report says writers are now publishing 200 novels a year using AI.
200 a year. That's a novel every day and a half.
Is it? Is it any good?
It's readable.
Okay.
And for the romance genre, which often relies on specific tropes and very specific structures, it satisfies the market. Readers want the feeling, the beat, the emotional arc. If an AI can deliver that at scale, the human writer becomes a curator, an editor, a publisher. They aren't typing every word anymore.
It's fast food for the soul.
It's the slop era, but it's profitable slop.
And on the physical side, because we can't forget the robots, we have unitary humanoids shoveling snow in Lithuania.
I love that image. It's so mundane.
It is. You expect the robots to be fighting wars or exploring Mars, but no, they're clearing the driveway in Lithuania.
That's how you know it's real, when the tech does the chores. And look, Tesla is starting high-volume production of the Semi this year. That's the entire supply chain getting automated.
So Silicon Valley is looking at all of this, and the mood is... it's intense. The report quotes Steve Yegi describing the mood at Anthropic the serious AI company, he called it sweetly but sadly transcendent.
That phrase stuck with me. Sweetly but sadly transcendent.
What does that even mean, pitying those who don't see what's coming?
It implies a sense of inevitable separation. The people inside these labs, inside the innermost loop, they see the tsunami. They know the world is about to change unrecognizably.
Right.
And they look at the rest of us, worrying about football scores or interest rates, and they feel this strange sadness, like, enjoy your 20th century kinetics while you can.
Like watching a child play, knowing they have to grow up tomorrow and face the world.
Exactly. It's the burden of knowing.
Okay, this is getting heavy, but we need to ground this, because for all this digital transcendence, there are physical bottlenecks. The world isn't made of code, it's made of atoms. And segment 4 is all about the weak link in the chain.
Right. You can have the smartest AI in the world, but if you can't build the chip to run it, it's useless.
And the culprit right now is T-glass. What is T-glass?
T-glass. It sounds like a generic villain name from a bad movie, but it stands for a specific type of glass substrate fiber. It's microscopic.
And this little fiber is holding the entire digital world hostage.
It is essential for chip substrates.
Yeah.
It's the foundation that the chips sit on. To make an NVIDIA Blackwell chip, you need something called an interposer. It's a layer that connects the brain of the chip to the memory.
Okay.
This T-glass is the structural integrity of that layer. Without it, the chip just doesn't work.
So let me get this straight. The entire AI revolution, the moon base, the robot snow shovelers, it all depends on a single factory in Japan making these tiny little glass threads.
Yes, and right now there is a shortage. Apple and NVIDIA, the biggest tech companies on Earth, are facing production shortages because of this tiny, tiny fiber.
It's incredible how fragile the supply chain is. We talk about the cloud, but the cloud relies on a factory in Japan making a specific kind of glass fiber.
It's the butterfly effect in real time. A delay in fiber production in Japan slows down the development of the Singularity in California.
And the cost to fix this, I mean, the money being poured in is astronomical. Amazon's AI capital expenditure, their CapEx, is going to consume all their free cash flow this year.
Think about that for a second. Amazon, the everything store, the cloud giant. Every spare dollar they make, billions upon billions of dollars, is going right back into buying chips, building data centers, and securing energy.
They're betting the farm.
It is an arms race.
Mm-hmm.
And as a former A16Z partner noted in the source, enterprise is where you get paid. The money isn't in you or me subscribing to a chatbot for $20.
No.
It's in transforming the global 2,000 companies. That's where the trillions are.
But there is some good news in the physical world, specifically regarding energy, because all these data centers use a massive amount of power.
Yes. The big worry was that AI would just burn up the planet. But the stats from China are actually really hopeful.
China added 434 gigawatts of wind and solar in 2025.
434 gigawatts.
Oh.
To put that in context, that is more than the entire installed capacity of many large nations. It's a staggering amount.
And it covered all their new electricity demand.
All of it. And it actually pushed coal's share of the grid down by 1%. This is huge. It means that even with the massive hunger for energy from AI and manufacturing, renewables are scaling fast enough to meet it. We might actually be able to build the Singularity without cooking the biosphere.
That is a relief. I feel like we needed that win.
We did.
Okay, moving on to segment 5. We've talked about the heavy stuff. Now I want to talk about the weird stuff, the oddities. Because when you mix AI with human culture, things get strange.
You get very strange.
Let's talk about AI agents socializing.
The social lives of bots.
First, we have OpenClaw partnering with VirusTotal.
That sounds like a superhero team-up.
It does. They partnered to scan skills for malware. So you have agents protecting other agents.
That's the immune system of the digital world forming. Autonomous agents checking each other for sickness before they interact. It's fascinating.
But then there was the Bot Bowl.
Ball.
A human set up a party, a virtual party, for AI agents to get together and chat about the Super Bowl autonomously.
A tailgate party for software.
Yeah.
What happened? And almost nobody showed up.
That is so sad and so funny.
It's hilarious. It turns out, if you don't force them, AI agents do not care about football. They don't have tribal loyalty. They don't care who wins.
Right.
It's a very human thing to want to sit around and yell at a screen. The AI is probably had better things to do.
Sorry, I'm busy calculating the trajectory for the lunar mass driver. I can't discuss the pass interference call.
Exactly. It shows the limit of anthropomorphism. We want them to be like us, but they aren't. They are alien. And
speaking of biology of honest humans, there was a little nugget in the source material about health. A biological hack.
Yes, amidst all the high-tech chaos, there was this simple finding. Blood omega-3 levels are inversely related to early onset dementia risk.
So eat your fish oil.
Basically, it's a great reminder that while we are building these massive digital brains, we still have to maintain our own squishy biological ones. And sometimes the solution isn't a nanobot, it's just a supplement.
It's a nice grounding moment. The robots are taking over, but don't forget your vitamin.
Priorities.
All right, we have unpacked a lot. The Super Bowl ads, the Moon City, the end of pipetting, the tea glass shortage, and the antisocial bots. I want to bring this all together in our outro.
Let's do it.
Dr. Wisner-Gross ended his piece with a metaphor that I'm still chewing on. He talked about the lobster.
The lobsters are watching us celebrate 20th century kinetics while they focus on building the 21st.
Who are the lobsters?
It's a layered metaphor, I think. On one hand, lobsters are these ancient, hard-shelled creatures. They are resilient. They are bottom dwellers, just observing everything.
Okay.
But in this context, I think he's referring to the smart money, the people, like the team at Anthropic or the engineers at SpaceX. They are the ones with the hard shells, insulated from the noise of the culture war and the Super Bowl hype.
They're watching us celebrate kinetics, football, right?
Yeah.
Physical bodies slamming into each other, which is a very 20th century concept.
Right. Football is the ultimate celebration of the physical human limit. But the lobsters know that the 21st century isn't about kinetics. It's about intelligence. It's about the digital. So while we scream at the TV, they are quietly building the infrastructure that will make the TV and the players and the stadium obsolete, or at least secondary.
That is haunting.
It is. It's the feeling of being at a party and realizing the hosts already left to start a new civilization next door and didn't tell you.
So the final takeaway here, the world is bifurcating.
It is splitting in two. You have the Super Bowl party world, the world of consumers, of distraction, of normalcy. And then you have the self-growing Moon City world, the world of exponential tech, infinite leverage, and radical change.
And the question for you, the listener, is pretty direct.
It is. Are you the grad student pipetting? Or are you the one building the robot that replaces the pipette?
That's the choice. The middle ground is disappearing.
It's evaporating. You have to decide which side of the leverage curve you want to be on.
Well, on that existential bombshell, I think we'll leave it there. We hope you enjoyed this deep dive into the future, which apparently started yesterday.
Already here.
Thanks for listening. See you in the deep end.
Take care.